want to thank everybody for, sorry, I got an alert there. I want to thank everybody for joining us for our last meeting of calendar 2021. We have an exciting 2022 planned with several events coming up for community service and engagement. I just want to recap some recent highlights that will be discussed in the meeting. We recently had our engineering blitz at Keeling Middle School, which was hugely successful. And we also have an article highlighting the branch activities coming out in the Texas Civil Engineering magazine. And so we also have some very important news regarding our event venue and return to in-person meetings. So please stay tuned for that. And with that, we'll kick off this meeting, and thanks for your attendance.
Thank you, Sam. So my name is Tyler Doobie, and I'm your VP of Programs for today's meeting. If we're going too fast, I do have the announcements and the slides and today's program posted into the chat, so you can follow along with those during the meeting or after. We've actually made these announcements interactive, so this is a good time to get out your cell phone and scan the QR codes that you see on screen on some of the slides using your camera app, especially if we're asking you to sign up for something or to give us some money. So I want to say a special thank you to MWM for today's meeting sponsorship. And we've heard from Sam today to kick off today's meeting. So this is the first opportunity you have to use your QR code scanning skills. I just want to remind folks that this is a great time to sponsor before the year end. We actually had a lot of firms sponsor the branch about this time last year. So if you see that your firm's logo has dropped off the list, it's because it's time to renew. You did this time last year, and it's only good for 12 months. So scan the code and you can navigate to our sponsorship page on the branch website to renew your sponsorship if that fits you. And I have a slide at the end of today's announcements that will show what kinds of things that your sponsorship dollars have helped fund this fall. So next up, we have an announcement from David Matoka about the Engineer of the Year.
Afternoon, everyone. The Engineer of the Year award is a very prestigious award given out by the branch to recognize an engineer who has done great things, whether that's in their profession and or service to the Austin branch. And it doesn't have to be just this year. It can certainly be a cumulative effort through their entire career. If you go on the website, you'll see quite a list of who's in the engineering community who are former recipients of this award. So that being said, applications for the 2022 award are due January the 7th. That's just right around the corner. So surely there's some deserving engineer that's worthy of this award. Please send in a nomination. I'll help you fill that out if need be. But go ahead and submit, and let's get some good candidates. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, David. Next, we're going to hear from Laura Friello and Michael Chavez about a community service announcement.
Thank you. My name is Laura Friello. I'm one of the co-chairs for our community service committee here at the Austin branch, and we officially have one event in person coming up. I know it's been a long awaited, but we are excited to get back together. We also will have an event later on in the spring and possibly another one around all of the e-week activities. Those will be coming. However, we want to go ahead and get everybody up and going with registration information for our January 15th event. So with that, I'll let Michael talk a little bit more specifically about the event.
All right, thank you, Laura. Yeah, so as Laura mentioned, we will be volunteering with Mobile Loaves and Fishes for an outdoor hands-on event. Mobile Loaves is a great organization. They help to provide affordable permanent housing and community for the disabled and chronically homeless in Central Texas. So our event date with them has been set for Saturday, January 15th at 9 a.m. to noon. And some of the tasks that we're anticipating include tending the community garden, as well as some light landscaping. If you're interested in attending, please register using the Eventbrite link. And that way we'll be able to communicate with y'all directly. If you scan the QR code, that'll take you directly to the Eventbrite link. If you have any questions about the event or just anything in general, just please feel free to reach out to Laura and I at communityoutreach@austinasce.org or public relations at austinasce.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, we'll hear from Paul Hahn about details for our venue at our next branch meeting in January.
Yeah, thank you. Hello again, everybody. Paul Hahn here, president-elect this year. We're really excited, continuing on the theme of getting back together in person. We're gonna try to have, we are gonna have our January luncheon in person. So we have a new location, as you can see on the map here. We'll no longer be at Phillips Event Center. We're gonna try out the Balcones Country Club. So it's on 183, just between Spicewood Springs and Anderson Mill Road. Should be able to Google it without much problem. You want to go to the next slide? Thank you. So you have some reference here, parking, what it looks like on the outside. We'll have more information as we get closer in next month's newsletter. But please try to arrive early-ish, 11:30, 11:40, to see how the new place works. It'll be our first time in just about 2 years hosting an in-person event. So please bear with us a little bit, try to show up early to help things run smoothly. We're going to be doing a buffet lunch, so we'll probably get that started around 11:45. So feel free to come, get your lunch, sit down. If you don't sit down until the presentation starts, that should be okay. You know, get your lunch while we're doing announcements and everything. But we haven't committed to anything long-term yet with Balcones. So depending on how well it goes, we can continue meeting there, or we can try somewhere else. We've met with a few other places, so there are backup options if this doesn't work out. So please let me know how much you like the food, how much you like the parking, the venue itself, anything you want to share, positive or negative. Let me know, and we'll see if we want to keep meeting there or not. But look for this in next month's newsletters and other communications, and mark your calendars for January 18th. Thanks.
Great, Paul. Thank you. So I'll deliver this next message on behalf of Scott Wallace from SEI. They have an upcoming professional meeting in January. So details of that will be posted to the ASCE branch website. SEI's got their own page there. And also join us virtually for the inaugural SEI Texas section annual meeting on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. This is jointly organized by the SEI Houston, Austin, and Dallas branches, aiming to bring together Texas structural engineers in 3 seminar sessions focused on unique projects across Texas. The event provides an opportunity for structural engineers to learn more about some of the fascinating and technically challenging engineering projects that are going on in Texas, including transportation, entertainment, and building infrastructure. More details and registration information can be found at the SEI Texas section website or the upcoming SEI Blast email. And finally, there's the SET 2022. This is the premier SEI event of the year. It's basically a TED Talks type event given at the Alamo Draft House. And the QR code will take you to several YouTube videos from past events so that you can get a taste of what it's like. The overall goal, if you haven't heard about it, is to have 4 presentations that each depart from a normal, technical presentation, but are still related to the profession. So they try to take a little bit of a different angle, looking at structural presentations and liven it up. It's truly an Austin original, so stay tuned for more details about that in the new year. And next, we're going to hear from Kaylin Hudson with YMF.
Hi guys, I am the YMF director, which is our younger member forum for our members 35 and younger. And I just wanted to update you guys that we have a social on Monday, December 20th at Chaparral Ice Rink. So please join us there if you're interested and still in town. And the picture on the left is from our Coats for Kids service event, where we help sort through coats and jackets for family in the Austin area. And we had many great events in 2021, and we're looking forward to having even more fun events in 2022. And our big event that lots of you guys hopefully look forward to is our February networking happy hour, and we're in the works on planning that guy, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Thank you, Kaylin. All right, so next up, we've just completed our 3rd annual STEM event at Keeling Middle School that put 5 ASCE Austin branch volunteers in front of the entire 6th grade class of over 450 students. This is what we did to give them a glimpse into the civil engineering profession and a taste of what we do. For those of you that don't know how the event worked this year, it was a technologically challenging event for us to tackle. We did 2 webinar style virtual activities simultaneously from 2 different offices over a 2-day period. And I would like to recognize and thank the volunteers that we had for the event. We had our past president, Glenn Goldstein, and current president, Sam Shorter. They ran the paper bridge building contest, and I led a separate cup tower challenge, and we were supported by Griselda Quintero and Ana Maria Torres during the activities, and they used their phones and laptops to provide some alternate angles of the action from our offices and helped us monitor the chat feedback from each of the teachers that were logged into the event. You can see some of the activity supplies that we had pre-packaged and sent to the school ahead of the event. The students were formed in small teams of 5, and they not only competed against their classmates in their class, but they were also, for the virtual format, it allowed us to be synced up with a handful of other classes in real time, where the teachers would post the classroom's top performing structures, either the strongest bridge or the tallest tower, into the group chat. And so this was kind of a new thing that we tried this year, and it provided some great real-time feedback to the students that they were all engaged, all in their different homeroom classes and having fun. And it spurred some real creativity in the contests. I've got me over here in the upper left modeling my tower, which is about 1 yard tall, but some of the student groups actually achieved tower heights over 50 inches, totally whooping the professional engineers. So as I mentioned before, you want to know like where your sponsorship dollars go and why we ask folks to sponsor. We gave out a total of 20 identical construction themed Lego sets to the winning teams from each activity on each day. And everybody got to walk away with one of these cool pencils. It's ASCE branded, and it's actually kind of like a mood ring. It changes colors when you hold it, and it reacts to the heat from your hand. Changes from blue to white. So it was a huge success, I think, and the school has already asked us to come back in the spring to do more. They had a lot of fun. So thanks again to all of our volunteers to help make this virtual experience an impactful one. And hopefully the words written on these pencils actually come true for somebody, and that we've inspired some future civil engineers. So with that, that concludes our announcements. I'm going to turn it over to Steve Zobel with MWM to talk a little bit more about what they do.
Thank you, Tyler. It's been my privilege to work with this firm for the last 13 years. And I wanted to speak a little bit about it today and give you a little bit of a rundown about what we provide as a company. MWM Design Group is an interdisciplinary firm providing integrated client-focused services. So whether we're working on sole source or in concert with other firms, we provide an integrated approach. At MWM Design Group, we continue to embody the core values of personal integrity, responsibility, service to our clients, service to each other, and service to our community, embraced originally by our company founders. These core values have been the foundation for our continued success. MWM provides services for civil engineering, landscape architecture, surveying, and permitting. MWM has been providing engineering services since the company's founding in 1980. And our clients say that our ability to think of creative yet viable solutions to project challenges set us apart from other engineering firms. Our group is organized around service teams that actively work on and support our full range of civil design services, which include transportation, utility, and drainage infrastructure projects, as well as land development projects. For surveying, for the last 3 decades, MWM has consistently adopted a latest tech advances in surveying. MWM was an early proponent of the electronic data collection systems and continues to utilize state-of-the-art surveying equipment such as robotic total stations, reflectorless total stations, digital levels, and GPS receivers. The survey group works side by side with all the other groups, and we understand the necessity of an accurate survey. Equally important, MWM is known for prompt and comprehensive surveys. So we're justifiably proud of our history of successful surveying projects, completing thousands of surveys for both the public and private sectors. MWM Design Group architectural team provides design services for a broad range of commercial, industrial, and institutional facilities, as well as services for the preservation, rehabilitation, or adaptive reuse of existing structures. MWM Design Group also provides land use and feasibility studies for existing facilities or proposed new development, and we can provide consultation services to assess facility needs and evaluates facilities for compliance with building codes and accessibility standards. MWM can also develop programming for space planning or project management, prepare complete historical analyses, develop preservation plans, and develop performance criteria for design build projects. In landscape architecture, we focus on general functional, creative, and sustainable landscape design solutions that integrate with overall project aesthetic. We have significant experience utilizing landform design, natural area conservation and restoration, native and adaptive plants, and water conservation techniques. The team has highly experienced in land planning, LEED certified projects, master landscape planning, erosion control, rainwater collection for irrigation, biodesign, landscape restoration, revegetation, tree and natural area preservation. And finally, MWM's design group's technical understanding of regulatory restraints, plus long-established relationships and our collaborative team approach to project solutions enables us to navigate the regulatory processes with consistent success. Clients continue to seek MWM's input on land entitlement issues, for instance. And more often than not, they tell us we were able to accomplish what others considered impossible. Our willingness to work with regulatory staff and agency management in a cooperative manner leaves everyone eager to work together on the next project. We do not burn bridges. MWM is particularly proud of being selected to provide jurisdictional services to the Austin Independent School District, Cap Metro, and ACC for multi-year IDIQ task order contracts. In summary, MWM Design Group is a multidisciplinary firm and Hub WBE certified firm. We're available to provide civil engineering, surveying, architecture, landscape architecture, and permitting services as a subconsultant to other engineering firms on infrastructure projects. So please give us a call and reach out to us if you have an interest. Thanks, and I'll turn this back over to Tyler.
Thank you, Steve. So that concludes the announcements, and we're ready to get into today's presentation. As a reminder, if you have a question for the presenter, you can post it in the chat at any time. And at the end, if we have time to go through questions, I'm going to go through the chat backlog and moderate that Q&A. The meeting is being recorded today and will be posted to the branch's YouTube channel, so you can replay the tape at your leisure. I'd like to now introduce our speaker for today while she gets set up to share her screen. Virginia Essary started her investigative career with the Texas Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors in September 2012 as an Investigator 1. She's since risen through the ranks at the board in the Compliance and Enforcement Department and currently serves as Investigator 4. Prior to joining the board, Virginia worked with the Texas Department of Public Safety. She's a native of Austin and holds a bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in economics from Texas State University. Virginia, thank you so much for being here and helping present our annual engineering ethics seminar. The screen, you've got your screen up here, so the floor is yours.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me. Today I will go over the ethics that we have here at the board. So I do again welcome you for hosting and for allowing me to present this to your branch. My name is Virginia Essary. I'm an investigator with the board. I am in the Compliance and Enforcement Department. And for whatever reason, if we don't get through all the questions, if there's questions afterwards, or if you just want to shoot me an email, go for it. You can reach me at virginia.essary@pels.texas.gov. And this helps as well because we're not open to the public as of yet. We're still working from home. So this will probably be the best way to reach me, this or through phone. A little bit about the webinar info. We use this slide when we're in the office presenting, so I don't know if it applies, it might apply, but the webinar is an audio and it can only be heard through your computer or your phone. All attendees will be in listen mode only. During the presentation, as Tyler stated, please use the chat options to post any kind of questions you have. I won't answer them on the spot, however, I will try to get to them afterwards. Again, if there's questions not addressed, just let me know. You can email me or you can just forward them to Tyler and he can go ahead and email me that. And a copy of the slides are available. It's available on our website and I did forward a copy to Tyler. So again, if for whatever reason you don't get that copy and you would like it, feel free to email me and I have no problem emailing you a copy. Documentation of attendance for continuing education purposes will be followed up by email from our webinar system. It will be sent within 24 hours. As always, please check your spam or your junk email box. A lot of our emails do end up in those folders. No certificate will be issued. If registered as a group like this group, please keep and distribute a sign-in sheet for all attendees. I believe Tyler probably has that taken care of, but again, you know, just as long as you have some sort of email or, you know, you can follow up with Tyler, that will be sufficient for our records and for your records. Today, we are going to talk about the board, our core functions at the board, professional responsibility. We will go over some scenarios and what the board does, board activities. You can reach us on some websites and social media that the executive director, Dr. Lance Kenny, is in charge of. You can always reach us online at pels.texas.gov, as well as these other platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. So you can catch us on all of those. I don't know how often they're updated because Lance is in charge of them, but I think he does try to keep them updated as often as possible. The Texas Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors, we do have 9 members appointed by the governor. 5 are licensed PEs. 1 is a registered professional land surveyor. 3 are public members. 1 is a representative from the General Land Office, and they serve a standard terms of 6 years. This is the current board structure. Dr. Najad, he is out of the Beaumont area. He is our chairman. Ms. Norwood, our vice chair, Mr. Jukun, the secretary, Mr. Shaw, one of the public members from the Richmond area, he's our treasurer, and then followed by Mr. Bailly out of San Antonio, Mr. Rubiano from Harlingen area, Mr. Chang, he is another public member from Houston, a local, Ms. Johnson from Leander, Ms. Stunglin, who is actually, Dr. Stunglin, excuse me, she recently joined, she joined over the pandemic, so we haven't really met her in person yet. Once we open up, we're all going to try to meet up with the new member. Grand Prairie, and then Mark out of Austin, another RPS, land surveyor, excuse me. Our staff, however, is 36 members. We're really a small agency. Dr. Kenny is our executive director, followed by Mr. Sims, who's my director of compliance and enforcement department. Mr. Strong out of licensing and registration, our largest department, and Ms. Subowski out of operations. Our mission at the board is to protect the public safety and welfare of the people of Texas through the licensure and registration of qualified individuals as professional engineers and land surveyors, compliance with the laws and rules, and education about engineering and land surveying. We were created out of the, fortunately, out of the New London explosion, and this was the engineering side. Engineering license was created in the 1937 in the 45th Texas legislation session, again, due to the explosion that killed roughly around 300 students and teachers. And it was a result of improperly designed mechanical and electrical devices. Because of this, a board was established to regulate the practice of engineering through licensing and rules of practice. We used to have a video, a slide with a video on the explosion, a little news clip it. Very interesting. You might be able to find it on YouTube if you are interested. We took it out, I think, because we just had issues with it with our presentation. But you know, it does cover exactly what happened and taken at the times during the time. So it's pretty interesting to see. If you can, it should be on YouTube. Our history, we have over 141,000 Texas PE's license granted since 1637 since the formation. And currently we're at 70,000 PE licenses. The Land Surveying Board was established in 1919. Public Surveying Board was established in 1955, and both ended up merging in 1979. And then in 2019, we merged with the Land Surveyors, so now we are PELs. And currently we have a little under 7,000 Texas land registrations since 1955, and currently over 2,800 registered surveyors. So a lot smaller, but they're growing. We're growing in numbers. So I don't think they're ever going to reach the PE status of license holders, but surveyors are slowly getting up there. Again, as stated, our mission is to protect the public through setting minimum standards for licensure as a professional engineer and registration as a professional land surveyor, through continuing practice and competence standards, through ethical and professional standards, compliance with these standards of professional practice, standards for indicating competence, and preventing unqualified individuals from offering or practicing where it could endanger the public. Fields that are regulated and licensed do vary among individual states. Among regulated fields are healthcare professionals. You can see lawyers, teachers, engineers, etc. Most of these fields impact the public one person at a time, whereas work done by engineers generally has the potential to affect many. And this was taken, a poll taken by Dr. Kenny. Please tell me how you would rate the honesty and ethical standards of people in these different fields. Very high, high, average, low, or very low. So this was taken in 2019. I think it's been updated probably once since it's come out. So I don't know if he'll update it again, but nurses ranked the highest out of the poll that he did take out of 85, followed closely by engineers. So, you know, it shows that the engineers are viewed, you know, to have very high and ethical standards by the public. Again, as stated, this is something that we do go over a lot because this is our mission and our goals with the board is to protect the public health and safety through professional practice and responsibility, through professional licensure of both a professional engineer and a land surveyor, excuse me, through ethics, by experience, education, and exams for those two disciplines. The professional responsibility, competence is gained by education and experience, measured by the FE and PE exams. Texas uses nationally accepted standards, but considers each application independently. Texas is not licensed by discipline, but professional engineers must not practice outside their area of competence. As indicated in Board Rule 137.59A, engineers shall practice only in their area of competence. You can list up to 3 different disciplines in your board record. So even if you can only list 1, 2, 3, and you do have that experience that's not listed on your record, we do ask that you contact us, update it. That way we, if anything were to happen, we have it shown that you can practice in these other areas. Protection of public health, safety, and welfare through ethical responsibilities and expectations by avoiding conflicts of interest, being a faithful agent, be prepared to have a dissenting opinion if necessary, obligation to be aware of violations of the Act. How does this protect the public? We are expected to know the right thing to do and to do the right thing in the practice of engineering. Through communication, being honest, being clear in your communication with the public by not misleading, respectful of all parties, maintaining the public trust, and timely communicating with the board. How does this protect the public? We are expected to be complete and correct in the practice of engineering. As a licensed professional engineer, you have a wide range of actions, a wide range of options, legal obligations, ethical obligations, and as always, to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public of Texas. Board Rule Chapter 137, Subchapter C, signing and sealing, your direct supervision, responsible in charge, being objective and truthful, care and diligence, actions of others, aiding and abetting, codes and ordinances, continuing education, and the PSPA. Signing and sealing indicates that the work was done by the professional or under the direct supervision of the professional. Work is complete and accurate. Preliminary work, if properly notated, permitting, bidding, not for construction, responsible parties if more than one professional was involved, date issued, and revisions. Signing and sealing indicates your professional responsibility for the work that you prepared. We're going to enter into the first scenario. In the past, this is where we did get, the hands up or, shout out the ABC, the answer. If you want to type it out, I guess you can, but it's kind of hard to do more involvement through Zoom. So first scenario, a PE was hired by a property owner to prepare a site plan for a rental property. After attempting to access the property, the renters refused to work with that engineer. The PE discussed the issue with his client. The client, who is not an engineer, provided his own version of the site plan to the PE. The PE then signed and sealed the plans on the spot and gave them back to the client. This was a violation of A, 137.33B, license holders shall only seal work done by them or performed under their direct supervision. 137.57B3, the issuance of oral or written assertions in the practice of engineering shall not be misleading or shall not in any manner whatsoever tend to create a misleading impression. C, 137.63A, engineer shall engage in professional and business activities in an honest and ethical manner. Or D, all of the above. The answer is, as soon as I hit it, I saw some people pop up. I see 2 Ds, so yes, all of the above. 137.33B, it is not enough to review and seal the work of another person. A PE can only seal the work that he or she has personally generated or work that was generated under their direct supervision. B, 137.57B3, by sealing work that is not his or hers, a PE is giving a misleading impression to the public. C, 137.63A, passing off another person's work as your own would be considered dishonest. So it all boils down to plan stamping. Scenario 2, You are a licensed professional engineer and supervise others who perform engineering work on your projects under your direct supervision. After you signed, sealed, dated, and issued engineering plans for the design of a hotel, it was found that the design of the supporting columns holding up an awning over the hotel entry was inadequate. If not corrected, could result in the collapse of the awning. During the project, one of your EITs performed the column analysis, which you used to complete the design. If a complaint was filed against you, if a complaint against you was filed with the board, what level of responsibility do you and your EIT bear on the apparent inadequate design of the columns with respect to board rules? A, you as the PE 100% and your EIT 0, the PE 50% and your EIT 50, so split evenly. The PE 0 and your EIT 0, the deficiency was caught and corrected. Or D, you get 0 and your EIT gets the blame, gets the responsibility on them. So I'll give you time. I see an A out there. Richard's quick to mark his answer. C or A. I will let you know. I think one of these is a trick question. I don't know which one though. Let's see. A. So you do and your EIT gets 0. As the licensed professional engineer overseeing the work, it's your professional responsibility that all work is done correctly. You are the responsible in charge. Scenario 3. You have been engaged to perform an engineering inspection by a business owner whose building was damaged by hail. His insurance claim has been denied and he wants to refute the claim. These scenarios, this is probably one of the most, if not, well, in my caseload, we always get these kind of cases, insurance claim ones. So I don't know if this is one of mine. I haven't seen this version yet. Continuing on, the business owner informs you that a professional engineer for the insurance company described some of the damage to the building roof may have been caused by the hailstorm, but most of the observed damage was old damage not caused by the storm event. The owner also told you that he is hoping your engineering report can be used to prove to the insurance company that it should pay for a complete roof replacement. You conduct your inspection and it seems one of the roof damage is not due to hail, that some of the roof damage is not due to hail. So what do? A, provide select weather data and photographs of damage and write a report indicating that all the damage was related to a storm event in order to support your client. B, provide weather data, photographs, and write a report with your conclusion that some of the damage was caused by the storm event and some of the damage predated the storm event with detailed information that supports that conclusion. D, decline the engagement because you believe the client was not interested in an objective finding. Or D, decline the engagement because you do not believe there is a winner in insurance related claims. I see B. Sorry, I took a little drink because my throat's feeling dry. All right. Oops. Well, I saw another B, but I didn't mean to click it too soon. B. You provide weather data, photographs, and write a report with your conclusions that some of the damage was caused by the storm event and some was predated. It's your professional responsibility to be honest, objective, and truthful, regardless of your client. Support your conclusions with data and facts. So, that's one thing that I go back and forth with these kind of cases because then the complainant wants to submit more information. And, as long as the engineer can support their conclusion, can support that, unfortunately, the insurance claim is denied because of these reasons, then, they did nothing wrong in our rules and regulations in our jurisdiction. So, this probably was one of my cases in the past. I always get those. Professional Services Procurement Act, the PSPA. It prohibits governmental entities from selecting providers for certain professional services on the basis of competitive bidding. Includes cities, counties, school districts, state agencies, and other public bodies. When selecting an architect, engineer, or land surveyor, the PSPA requires a governmental entity to follow the qualifications-based selections, QBS. The QBS is a two-step process which requires a governmental entity to first select the most highly qualified provider of services, and then you negotiate a price. Scenario 4, Littletown, Texas is getting ready to proceed with a new project to construct a town library. The consulting firm located in the adjoining city was awarded the engineering contract for this project. However, the firm, after getting the project, decided that it would require additional engineering design and surveying work. So the firm sent a RFP, the request for proposal, to your firm, asking if your firm would be interested in performing the work for the project. They requested a cost estimate from your firm to provide that work. As a responsible professional for your firm, you first respond to the RFP with a cost estimate because you were not contacted directly by the town, but rather a private engineering company. B, you respond to the RFP providing general cost information that you normally charge for similar projects, but not cost specific to this project. C, you respond to the RFP by providing your firm's qualifications, but do not provide any cost or pricing information. You respond with your firm's qualification, or D, excuse me, you respond to your firm's qualifications listing the number of professional engineers and surveyors who would work on the project and their hourly billing rate, but you do not provide a total cost for the project. It's pretty quiet out there. Ah, I see a C. 2 C's, I'll go with that. C, you respond to the RFP by providing your firm's qualifications, but you do not provide any cost or pricing information. This applies at all levels of professional services for public projects. Continuing education, 15 hours for PEs and 12 hours for land surveyors. Must include 1 hour of ethics, which is this, and 3 hours for land surveyors. So the 1 hour of ethics, excuse me, is for a PE, 3 hours for land surveyor. May include self-study, 5 hours max for a PE, 4 for a land surveyor. May include up to 3 hours of continual educational outreach. Random audits are always ongoing. And we do ask that you keep your documentation for at least 3 years, the documentation of continuing education for 3 years. NISAS has a system for tracking and reporting continuing professional competence, CPC, excuse me. There's no fee to register or create an account. You upload the documentation and you report as needed for different boards. So this does come in handy for those that are licensed in multiple states. I know this is a little dated slide, but if for those new PEs, for those that aren't aware, here is the link below. Again, it's really helpful. Ms. Trevino, Debbie Trevino, our continuing education coordinator, loves this. And it's very organized. It helps her out and it helps engineers out too. So competent, oh, I think I went back. Compliance and enforcement. We have approximately 400 cases open annually. Again, we have a little under 70,000 licensed PEs and under 3,000 registered land surveyors. Out of the 400 cases, about 65% do get resolved with voluntary compliance. Board actions include range of action up to revocation, and less than 10% of those cases do end up being dismissed. For filing a complaint, you can mail, email, phone, or fax the complaints for initial contact or for even a complaint. Anonymous complaints are accepted. Although we're closed, our agency is closed to the public, we still get mail. So, I mean, even if you're local and you want to come in and drop it off, you can drop it off. Not sure when we're going to open yet, full-time or even part-time for the public, but we do accept mail in person, so you can always drop off mail. A complaint form or detailed letter or email is needed to cover all the bases. So again, if you mail it in or email it in, try to have everything handy, everything filled out, everything that we need. If you don't, then luckily with email, we can just, shoot back and forth and try to get what we need. That way we can go ahead and start processing the complaint. The forms can be found online. However, again, you don't need to have a form. You can always do a detail letter. Provide specific incidents of the violation and evidence to show probable cause. As stated, the board actions can include reprimands, formal and informal, suspension with possible probation, refuse to renew, revocation, $5,000 per violation per day for engineers, and $1,500 for land surveyors, cease and desist orders or emergency suspensions. Other additional enforcement options are ethics courses, the National Institution for Engineering Ethics, the Texas Tech course, researching possible surveying ethic courses. So at this time, we don't have any, I believe, for the surveyors, but we are trying to work on that. And I don't think they even had any on their end with their previous board. So just something that we're trying to come up with. That way we have one to reference for engineers and one for surveyors. Technical courses, restitution, practice limitations, and certain cases, we can always suggest that they take matters to civil criminal court. So, those are options for the public and for the engineer or land surveyor. Enforcement. By law, all violations except informal reprimands must be published, and they're published on the website by board meeting date. They are added to the NISA's enforcement exchange and published in the newsletter, which is mailed at least annually in quarterly e-newsletter emails. Although there's not 100% way to prevent a complaint, these do help by being clear in your communication between all parties, by being clear in your contract, by listing the expectations and responsibilities, and in your calculations and designs, be prepared to support as well. And keep your documentation. Again, we don't have a rule specifically states how long you should keep your documentation. Only time, or the only rule that we have is for continuing education documents, is where we ask you to keep it for 3 years. But your personal work, we don't have any rule that governs how long you should keep it, but just keep documentation if you can. Put it in the cloud, it stays in there, you should be fine. Most importantly, know the law and contact the board if you have any questions. Engineering policy advisory opinions. The PEPA was added in 2003. It allows the board to develop formal written interpretations of law and rules for specific or hypothetical gray areas. We do have 50 interpretations for a variety of subjects that can be found on our website. The link is provided. And if you would like to submit a PAO request or just see the form or fill it out later, the link has been provided as well. Technical experts, we need your help for both engineering and surveying. The board keeps a list of qualified technical experts to be used to review enforcement cases. Volunteer or pro bono or service contracts are as appropriate. And for those that we do reach out to and we do use, possible continuing education can be awarded, credit can be awarded. If for more, please reference or look at Rule 139.23, or you can look at the link that's been provided as well. Surveyor update. The rule conversion is complete. The rule adoptions are published in the Texas Register and are in effect right now. The link has been provided for those that want to review it. And combined rule document can be found on our website as well. There was a fee reduction as on September 1, where the land surveying renewal fee is now $40, and we lower the SIT and the application fees also. And we're working on state-specific surveying exams at this time. So the past session, the regular session ended on May 31st, and we did, roll into special sessions. We do our best to track engineering bills and surveying bills. So since we didn't have any, we didn't post any on here, but bills related to engineering and or land surveying are listed on our website. Minimal impact to engineering or surveying professions from regular legislative sessions. we reach, or the board tries to reach out through engagements and webinars, through PE ethics, the monthly multiple sessions during renewal months, sign up online, the LS ethics in the works. This slideshow is still very much geared for engineers. We haven't really worked on a land surveying one, just because again, their numbers are lower. So we're not needed as much or requested as much, but we are working currently on that. The FE exam, why become a PE for the students? The FS exam, why become a land surveying, and that's also geared towards the students, and how to apply webinars for EITs and SITs. Our outreach, we did drop, obviously, you know, because everything going on with the pandemic. So our numbers are slowly getting up there when it comes to presentations. Although attendees, you know, wasn't a huge change, as you can see. But we're, again, you know, hopefully by opening up, we'll be able to make in-person presentations. I don't know what the future's going to hold. I don't know if we're going to just do Zooms, but you know, any feedback will be appreciated. You know, we'll appreciate any feedback. So as of now, we're still zooming it out, and hopefully our numbers can you know, we can get more this way because it's easier, I think, for a lot of people. But so we do our monthly, quarterly webinars, face-to-face. As you can see, we did not resume in the fall. So I'll have to update that. But again, hopefully in 2022, we can resume, and even reach out to the little kids and the younger crowds for their e-week and for webinars as well. Webinar info, documentations of attendance for continuing education purposes, again, will be followed up through an email. Sent within 24 hours, check your spam box. No certificate will be issued. Our slide is available on our website. But again, if for whatever reason, you know, you need assistance, email me or ask Tyler for help on that documentation. And that's it. Thank you for your time. Again, you can reach me on my email directly, or you can reach us at the board at info@pels.texas.gov.
All right, thank you, Virginia.
Yeah, I think I did it right. I hit the stop share.
I'm going to take it back over.
Okay, hold on.
Just a second. Okay, so at this time, we're going to open it up for questions. You can use the chat to post those. And I'm going to go scroll up through the chat here just to see if we have any. There was a request to post the documents on the website. I did post in the chat today during the presentation the slides from the announcements, the slides from Virginia's presentation, and we do have the recording of today's meeting that we'll post to our branch website and YouTube channel. So look out for it there. If you can't access the documents on your smartphone because you don't have the viewers or the software on your phone, you can do that on your computer after the fact. Can you talk more about volunteer activities for renewal credit?
I'm not, and of course I'm like, it's going to be a continuing education question. I'm not 100% sure on what Debbie will, and I say Debbie, who's our coordinator, Mr. Trevino, as long as it applies to your discipline or to engineering, I think she will, if it seems. Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw the other question. So volunteering one first. That's probably a question for Ms. Trevino. But I think, again, as long as it applies, luckily on the PE side, you know, unlike the land surveying ones, they have a sheet of course of pre-approved courses that they have to take or that they have to follow. We're more flexible on our end. So just if you can, I can always ask Ms. Trevino, and if you want to shoot me an email, I can respond to your email. But I think, again, as long as it applies to your discipline, then I want to say she'll count it. Now, I don't know how long this volunteer activity is going to take. So that's where she might only take, a couple of hours or again, I'm not 100% sure, but I can find that out for you. So I have no problem doing that, reaching out to Debbie.
So the next question, in regards to the RFP question, at what time is it appropriate to provide a budget? It seems as if the contract had already been awarded, and as such, budgets would typically be supplied.
As soon as it gets awarded and you know that, you got awarded the contract, then you can talk budget. But just know for sure, don't have like, oh, I think I'm going to, or I heard, just make sure it's 100% that you got awarded that bid. Wasn't that the case? Yeah, so I mean, as soon as you get awarded the contract, you can talk budget. I don't know what would prevent you from talking budget. So I don't know, wasn't that the case? Are you talking about the scenario or?
It may be the way the question was worded on the slide.
Oh, here, I can go back.
They're going back to.
Okay, with the scenario, I don't believe you were awarded. Let's see. So however, this firm, after getting the project, decided that it would require additional engineering work and design. So the firm sent an RFP to your firm. So I think because it required additional, asking if your firm will be interested in performing the work for the project. So although that firm I think was selected because because the second firm hadn't been selected, that's why there wasn't any cost thrown in there. And luckily you do have a copy of this slideshow, so you can go back at scenario number 4, but you can go back and look at that specific question with the answers. So firm has the contract, so change. Okay, maybe I misunderstood the scenario. So firm has the contract, so change of terms is not an RFP.
Yeah, I think what Russ is asking is once you've been awarded a contract, even if there's a change in terms after the fact, new things have come to light, that it's not considered a separate request for proposals at that point.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, again, just with the way the scenario is written, is because the firm is seeking additional. So because there was a change and you weren't selected, but from this firm or by this firm, then there was no cost. There was, you weren't allowed to talk cost or throw in any kind of cost until the firm then selected you. Then you were allowed to go back and talk about cost. So that's why you had to provide your qualifications per the scenario.
Okay. Well, that's about all the time we have for Q&A today. Thank you again, Virginia.
Thank you.
I do want to take a moment to announce our attendance. We've had record turnout for this meeting. I saw it peak at about 78 for today. So thank you for all that attended and got your ethics credit here at the last ASCE meeting of 2021. I'm going to turn it back over to Sam Shorter to close us out. Sam, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Tyler, and thanks, Virginia, for a wonderful meeting. Hopefully you got your ethics taken care of and had a good time with our discussion. And just make sure you mark your calendars for January 18th and plan on an in-person event, and we'll also have virtual options. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye, y'all.
Thanks. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
You too.